Hello my friend. Welcome to Blow Up, where we unpack the wildest stories from the internet. Today we're diving into 7 explosive Reddit AITA stories, family feuds, moral dilemmas, and bold stands that spark heated debates. Are these people heroes or villains? You decide. Grab a snack, settle in, and let's get into the drama. First off, I don't think I was wrong, which has infuriated my girlfriend. I, 25, recently moved into my house. My girlfriend, 27, and I had a little housewarming. Her family, my mother, and a few of our friends. We were eating outdoors and the kids had their own table. My girlfriend's nephew, 8, knocked over a jug of dilute. I was at the table when it happened and it was clearly an accident. He was very polite and apologized. He was a little upset, but I just laughed it off. His father came over and I was shocked at how much his father gave out to him. I told him it was only an accident, etc., and he kept going. I felt really guilty for not stopping it. He ran over to the corner of the garden and started crying. His father went back to the table and he said what happened, and his wife said he deserved that, he should stay there a long time or something along those lines. There was almost a snigger from some of her family. Anyway, I went over to the boy a couple of minutes later. I gave him a bar of chocolate. He was still crying. He said sorry again. I gave him a high five and taught him this high five I used to do as a kid. His mother came over and said, "Do you mind not talking to my son? He needs to think about what he did wrong and he needs to do that alone." I took her and her husband aside and said, "This is my house. If you want to upset your kid, don't do it here. If you don't like it, get out." I swear the reaction that followed was insane. They went back to the table saying it. My mom said, never holding back, "Didn't I raise a great son? He's spot on not to let bullies in his house." Which erupted it even more. My girlfriend spoke to me in private and asked me to apologize to them. I said no. I stand by what I said, and this part one regret a bit. I told her I think less of her for even asking me to apologize. A mate of mine and his son kicked ball with the boy and I. He actually gave me a hug, I don't do hugs, at the end of the party and said sorry again. He hugged so tightly for a couple of seconds. I really could go on about the drama, but in short, her family thought I was wrong. I was getting little digs, etc. My girlfriend's friend came up privately and said I was right to step in. My girlfriend is still pushing for me to apologize. I still don't think I did anything wrong. I didn't tell them how to parent, but told them to leave if that's how they want to parent. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't say this. I'm not sure I'd want a kid with a family like that. Aggro over spilled FNU flavored water. Wow, there's so many messages. Apologies, but I can't respond to all. Some of the common answers to responses. Agreed, what must they be like in private? Snigger is a word, at least in the UK. My mother is the best mother any kid could have had. Yeah, it puts a big hole in my future with my GF. There are comments that, spilled juice turns into a family feud. Gotta love the mom stealing the show with, no bullies in my son's house. That kid's high five and hug? Worth every second of the drama. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have kicked the in-laws out like this guy did, or tried to smooth things over for the sake of the party? And would you apologize to keep the peace with your partner? Drop your thoughts below. From a housewarming havoc to a holiday revenge. I, 18F, moved out at 15 when I got into a boarding school abroad. When I was 12, my dad, 45M, cheated on my mom, 43F, with a woman, 26F, who was 20 at the time. They ended up divorcing and he's been with her ever since. She's only a few years older than me, and for the past few years she's been at every family holiday. She's clearly only after his money, but he's too stupid and stubborn to understand. This year, for Easter, I flew back home and asked a friend of mine, 38M, to come with me and pretend to be my boyfriend just for a few days at my home. After dinner, my dad pulled me aside and told me he felt uncomfortable with the situation. I told him I didn't do anything wrong and that, after him, love has no age. He told me that I ruined everyone's Easter by being selfish and bringing someone his age to dinner. I flew back to school, but now I'm getting messages from a few relatives saying I should apologize to my dad and break up with my boyfriend. I haven't responded. I don't think I'm in the wrong because he's made my life uncomfortable since the moment he cheated on my mom. Edit, seems like many think it's a lie. I would too, but I met my friend in a book club when I moved to the US. I'm from Europe, and he's been a great father figure to me, tbh. When I had no friends there, he would buy me dinner and actually spend time with me, and he's recently divorced from his HS sweetheart, so he would have spent Easter alone anyway, therefore decided to take him with and show him around. For reference, I didn't say half of the bad things my dad did or the whole story, it would have been too long, but trust me, cheating isn't the only thing he did. I know this is immature, people. I know it's extremely immature of me, but I wanted to show him how it feels. Thanks a lot for the advice everyone. I'll update for Christmas. There are comments that, this daughter said, you want to play age gap games? Hold my Easter ham. Throwing dad's logic back in his face with a fake boyfriend? Savage. Some viewers asked questions. Was this a genius clapback or a step too far? Would you have brought a fake partner to make a point, or handled dad's hypocrisy another way? Share below. From an Easter plot twist to a parenting precaution. I won't waste time and try to convince anyone to like me. If you've already decided I'm a true crime-obsessed neurotic helicopter parent Karen with diaper energy and social anxiety issues, I don't think there's much I can say that will change your mind. And yes, I've heard of lock-ins. My son had one with his swim team last year. He's a bit older, it happened at the pool, guardians were informed before the children and one of the other parents chaperoned. It's not the same thing as an unofficial sleepover at a teacher's house. All of that said, I never intended to risk this woman's job, I was just worried. So I spoke to my husband, and we decided to take your advice and speak to my daughter's teacher first. He spoke to her while picking up our daughter last week. He said the conversation went fine, but he was bothered by her reaction when he said our daughter wouldn't attend. He told the teacher our kid was anxious, but she replied that the sleepover would be a great opportunity for her to come out of her shell, and that we should try to encourage our daughter to come. During the conversation, my husband also found out the following. She came up with the sleepover idea because she wanted to bond with the girls and figured it would be fun. She didn't ask for another parent to act as a chaperone because her husband had offered to help her, first time she ever mentioned his existence. When asked about what she'd do in case of emergency, she just stated she lived about 10 minutes away from a hospital. She didn't ask for the parents' contact information because she didn't think of it. After he told me all this, I decided to email the dance school. I wrote that the teacher was planning a sleepover, about which the parents had not received a lot of information. 2 days later, we all got an email from the teacher, stating she was canceling the sleepover due to a complaint from the dance school. She also apologized for not being more transparent with us. Some of the other moms are planning another sleepover at one of their houses so that the girls won't be upset. Not sure where or when it will happen yet, but I'm trying to keep up to date. Ultimately, even though I still don't know what the sleepover would have been like, I don't regret this. When it comes to my children, I'd rather be paranoid and wrong than regretful and right. If I complained and it turned out to be a completely innocent event, I'd feel embarrassed even after apologizing, but it might be something I could laugh about someday. If I let my daughter go and something happened to her or any of the other girls, I would never forgive myself. I will reply to comments for the next day or so, but I won't update again. Thank you all. There are comments that, this mom said, sleepover at a teacher's house? Not on my watch. Gotta respect the protective instincts, but that teacher's bonding plan was sketchier than a true crime podcast. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have emailed the dance school like this mom, or let your kid go to the sleepover after talking to the teacher? Are you team paranoid and wrong, or trust but verify? Let me know below. From a protective parent to a delicate situation. I'm 29F, boyfriend is 34M. He has an 11-year-old daughter with his ex. He usually only has his daughter 3 weekends a month during the school year, but his ex is currently on vacation in Japan, so his daughter has been with him for the past 2 weeks. The weather has been really warming up where we live and one of my friends opened her pool for the year this weekend. My boyfriend's daughter loves swimming. I told her on Thursday that we could go swimming on Saturday and she was ecstatic. Saturday rolls around and she stayed in bed all morning looking miserable. My boyfriend took her temp and she didn't have a fever. She just told him she doesn't feel like going anywhere, and asked to be left alone. It didn't seem like she was sick and she had been so excited about swimming earlier in the week, so I knocked on her door later in the day Saturday to ask her if something happened at school that upset her, or if there is anything going on she wants to talk about. She initially told me no, but she was tearing up. Then she made me promise not to tell her dad, which I agreed to. She told me she had started her period, was in a lot of pain, and was using toilet paper as a makeshift pad. Even with my assurances that starting your period is nothing to be embarrassed about, she still didn't want me to tell her dad. I ran to the store to get her some different pad options, a heating pad and some chocolate. As promised, I didn't tell her dad. I just said I was running to the store to grab some snacks for myself and his daughter. His daughter continued to have bad cramps even with the heating pad, so I gave her 2 Midol tablets. About 90 minutes later she was feeling a lot better. I gave her 2 additional Midol tablets when she woke up the next morning with cramps. My boyfriend's ex returned from vacation late in the day on Sunday yesterday. His daughter had no issues with her mom knowing about her starting her period, and if she had been in town his daughter would have called her. The only reason I got involved is because her mom wasn't there and she didn't want her dad to know. I knew his daughter would tell her mom once she was back, so it was just a day and a half of me helping and not telling my boyfriend. I figured if his daughter's mom thought my boyfriend should know, then her mom should be the one to tell him, as I made a promise to his daughter not to tell. This morning my boyfriend's ex told my boyfriend what happened, and he called me after speaking to her. He's furious with me for not telling him about what he called a medical condition, and for giving his daughter OTC medications without his approval. I told him I wanted his daughter to be able to trust me so she will be comfortable coming to me in the future with things that she might be embarrassed to tell her dad about. I also told him that if there was something going on that required medical attention, I absolutely would have told him, but this was just her starting her period. He's still pissed, mainly about me giving her the Midol. I don't think I'm the AH here, but I also have no kids of my own and am starting to doubt myself because maybe from the perspective of people who are parents I really messed up in this situation. There are comments that, stepmom turned superhero with pads and chocolate, but dad's mad about Midol? Bet he's just salty he missed the period talk about a cramp in his plans. Some viewers asked questions. Did this stepmom do the right thing by keeping the secret and giving Midol, or should she have told the dad right away? If you were the parent, how would you react? Share below. From a stepmom's tough call to a boundary-setting showdown. Missionaries stopped by once a week for 2 months even though I told them to stop. They crash a barbecue of mine so I filed a restraining order. My family and old church members have started to guilt me saying they're just teens and doing what they traveled here to do and it's kind of working. Am I being a pushover? I used to be, technically still am, a member of the LDS/Mormon church. I've tried to get my records removed but it's gone nowhere and I still get members and missionaries showing up to my house, even when I moved. Well, in the past 2 months I have been visited once a week by the same pair of missionaries along with one of my male cousins. They can't visit a single lady unless another male is with them. I tell them each week to stop visiting and tell whichever cousin they bring that it's not welcome, necessary, or funny and they really need to stop. Well, they came over last Saturday while I was having a barbecue with some friends and co-workers and they just started mingling/preaching to my guests. I didn't even realize they were because I was on the grill, until one of my co-workers came up to me and basically complained about me inviting him to a barbecue as an excuse to get my church members to preach to him and his boyfriend. I had to apologize and explain to him the situation and promise it wasn't like that at all. I decided I was done. They didn't even try to find me, they just harassed my guests and came into my property uninvited, so I called the police. They showed and said they can ask them to leave but can't really do anything else since I didn't ask them to leave myself first. So I showed them my ring footage and how I've been asking them to stop coming to my house for 2 months and they said I could file a restraining order for stalking but it might not go anywhere, so they walked me through the online forms and I have a hearing soon. Since then the church members have sent me emails, their youth have heart attacked my door/porch, and my LDS family have made FB posts about me being the literal devil. With the hearing getting closer I'm starting to feel nervous, and like maybe I've blown everything out of proportion. Like these missionaries are still teens, and maybe I should be redirecting my anger at my family who are probably the ones behind it. If I go through with the hearing? Well, it's been 2 hours and I think I've gotten enough advice and encouragement to help me. Thank you all. I will go to the hearing still. You are right, if they weren't missionaries I wouldn't even be questioning it. I will be messaging my co-workers and apologizing and letting them know about the RO hearing, and I will be going LC with my LDS family. And for those that asked, heart attacking is taping paper hearts with Book of Mormon and Bible quotes and little "I miss you" notes to people's front doors/windows/porches. I have also been told that it's literally love bombing, which I never noticed before. So that's cool. Thanks again. I probably won't log back in since this is a throwaway account. There are comments that, missionaries crashing a barbecue to preach? That's a bold move. Filing a restraining order and getting heart attacked with Bible quotes? This is peak drama. Some viewers asked questions. Would you have filed the restraining order like this person, or tried another way to stop the missionaries? And what's your take on the heart attacking tactic? Let me know below. From uninvited guests to a postpartum plea. I, 29F, gave birth to my first biological child 3 weeks ago and I had a complicated birth. I was already stepmom to my husband's, 30M, 2 children, 11 and 9, from his previous relationship. He shares custody of them with his ex-GF. We waited a week for me to recover a little before bringing our extended families over. It was a nightmare. So to begin with, my relationship with my stepkids was good until I got pregnant. Once I was expecting, they pulled away and expressed a lot of unhappiness about me being pregnant. They didn't want a half-sibling, and how half-siblings aren't real or the same as real siblings like they are to each other. Came out of nowhere. Their initial reaction to my pregnancy was actually okay. They asked questions, and when we asked how they felt about it, they said they were okay. That it was big. But within a month the negativity had set in. I tried to include them in stuff like picking baby things, helping with the nursery design, showing them scans, and trying to include them in the baby shower, but they wanted no part in that. We also made sure there was time with each of us and them where there was no baby talk, and that they got time with dad and time with me. When I'd take them someplace, they'd tell me they wished their dad was there instead. That's not something that ever happened before. Our baby was born when my stepkids were at their mom's, and they didn't get to meet their half-sibling until our custody week. They ran right past when they came to the house, refused to officially meet their half-sibling, and didn't want to interact with the baby. They also made a point of saying baby isn't their real sibling, the baby's only half. 3 days after they met the baby, our families did, and that's when stuff kicked off and I had a small breakdown in frustration. Some of my husband's family were unhappy that we were letting the kids say half-sibling and expressed this. My husband told them it wasn't that easy and to focus on meeting the baby. Some of my family started saying that it wasn't the end of the world, and then the two started fighting, and my husband was trying to encourage the kids to spend some time with the baby and also fighting with his family, and the kids were mad anyone was saying the baby wasn't their half-sibling. It was all too much. I was sore and tired and emotional, and I got so frustrated I loudly told everyone to leave me alone for a while. I said I know people wanted to see baby, see us, support and spend time, but the fighting was too much for me and I just needed time to unwind with the baby. I told my husband to leave with the kids for a couple of hours too, because if he wanted to talk to them then I'd feel better if they didn't fight in front of me. My husband understood, but our families are upset that I made everyone leave. My husband did technically on my request. My husband's family said the kids needed to hear the fight too, because they needed to know it's not okay to not treat baby as a sibling, and to see how upset it made me too. Not only that they're rejecting the baby now, but also me after we'd been good before. And they said I was unfair to everyone and making people leave solves nothing. There are comments that, new mom just wanted a nap, but the family turned it into a sibling rivalry soap opera. Kicking everyone out postpartum? That's a power move. Some viewers asked questions. Was this mom right to demand peace and quiet, or should she have let the family hash it out? If you were postpartum, would you have kicked everyone out too? Share below. From a postpartum meltdown to a funeral outburst. My 16-year-old sister died a month ago. We weren't close because of our parents and how they favored her and turned her into someone unlikable. My maternal grandparents, who took me in a year ago because my parents were straight up ignoring my existence at that point, told me I, 18M, had to go to the funeral, one, because she's my sister, and two, because I needed to support my parents in their grief. I went reluctantly and mostly out of respect for my grandparents, because they did take me in and got me away from my parents' house. When we got there, my parents were acting so different toward me. They had stopped paying any attention to me when I was 7 or 8 years old, and a year ago they told me they were disgusted by me and ashamed to call me their son because I wouldn't give my sister the love and attention she deserved. So the attention from them was not pleasant and had been completely unexpected. There was a mini fight before the service because I refused to sit with them. My grandparents attempted to push me into it, but I ignored them. Once the service was over, my parents were trying to cling on to me and hug me, and I haven't been hugged by them in 10 or more years. It frustrated me and I told them to stop and tried to shake them off. My grandparents were telling me to calm down, and my parents said they needed me and we all needed to grieve my sister together. I told them I wasn't a band-aid for their grief now that she's gone, and I said they didn't get to slot me into the wanted child place just because their favorite child is dead. I told them I never should have come and I didn't want their fake BS. My grandparents lost their shit with me and kicked me out for saying what I did. My paternal grandparents, who live in another state, offered to let me move in with them, so I made my way to them. I hadn't graduated yet, but that got fucked up in the process, so I'm not finishing high school like I was supposed to. But I did get closer to grandparents who not only saw how badly I had been treated before but spoke up and were pushed out for saying anything to my parents. There have been lots of calls and texts from my maternal grandparents, so I had to block them like I had my parents when I first moved in with them. But they want me to be ashamed of my words at the funeral and want me to apologize and make peace and forgive my parents and make up for my evil ways, their way to describe it, at the funeral. My paternal grandparents said my maternal ones always coddled and babied mom, and it was no surprise they do it even now. But for what I said. There are comments that, this kid dropped a truth bomb at the funeral and said, I'm not your backup kid. Parents went from ignoring him to clingy in one day. Talk about whiplash. Some viewers asked questions. Was this teen justified in calling out his parents at the funeral, or should he have held back for the sake of the moment? Would you have said the same thing? Share below. These 7 stories brought family drama, bold moves, and tough choices to the table. Who's the real here? You tell me. Drop your own stories in the comments. I'm dying to read them. If you loved this roller coaster, smash that like button, subscribe to Blow Up, and hit the bell for more Reddit chaos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.